No Soap Radio is a prank that consists of saying an additive at the end of a joke that has nothing to do with the meaning of its beginning, while the comedian pretends they are related and laughs, and if the other person starts laughing along with him, the comedian asks for an explanation of the joke, making him feel awkward. Anti-humor is a type of alternative humor that elicits laughter because of the surprise caused by the lack of a punchline or joke at the end. A famous example of this, the story of the man with the note, which consists of a very long story with no punchline at the end, which confuses the audience. Sarcasm, characterized by someone saying something but meaning the opposite with a strange pitch, and is usually used to express disparaging ridicule or criticism. Sarcasm is understood through the tone of voice, and the context in which it is used, as focusing on the words alone may not be sufficient to understand the underlying irony. Sarcasm is most often used in informal conversations. Farce, also known as physical comedy. It is usually full of physical violence, both real and simulated, in order to elicit laughter from the audience. This type of humor involves creating embarrassing or humiliating situations for the participants, and is one of the few types of humor that can be perceived purely through by sight, given its physical nature.
White humor. This is the most innocent type of humor, as it has no offensive content and does not require making fun of anyone or any form of humor that may hurt the feelings of others. It is mainly aimed at children and teenagers, as it does not contain insults or bad intentions. Dry humor. This is a type of non-expressive humor that consists of saying something funny without using body language. Its best characteristics are brevity, precision, and witty observations that contrast with the comedian's lack of emotion. Black humor. Black humor is characterized by dealing with inappropriate or sensitive topics such as disability or violence in order to elicit laughter through emotional shock. This type of humor requires the comedian to be very sensitive and understand the context of where and when the joke is being told, as with this type of humor, it is really easy to cross the line into direct insults. The great advantage of black humor is that it can highlight difficult topics and reduce the pain they cause. Satire is the use of humor and exaggeration to criticize and expose situations, and usually it is used in modern politics to denounce social injustice. Satire based on irony can arise from actual disapproval on the part of the comedian, or can simply be used as a way to entertain. Surrealism. It is characterized by a lack of logic and coherence, and it can also be called one of the most difficult types of humor because the comedian needs to find a balance between surreal humor and complete nonsense. Below-the-belt jokes are sexual humor, both implicit and explicit, with a vulgar nature and inherent tastelessness causing laughter out of embarrassment. Of course, the most explicit jokes are aimed at an adult audience, and this is one of the most popular. And universal types of humor for every social class. Grotesque humor. It's a visual type of humor that's mainly used in cartoons, in which it is easier to distort and exaggerate the features of characters, making them ugly and horrifying. This type of humor evokes many emotions at the same time, such as disgust and joy. Affirming and self-destructive. Both are types of self-irony, but they have different meanings. Affirming humor arises from the need to laugh at oneself in a healthy way, especially in adverse situations to lift the mood. Self-destructive humor, on the other hand, is self-deprecating and is used as a punishment of oneself and can be a sign of low self-esteem. Observational humor. It's based on common aspects of everyday life and is one of the most commonly used types of humor in stand-up comedy. A comedian makes a remark about something that is common enough to be familiar to his audience, but that is not usually discussed, often uses phrases such as, "Have you ever noticed?" Insult comedy. Insult comedy consists mainly of rude remarks usually directed at other performers or at the audience, especially the audience, who interfere with the flow of the performance. It can be both improvised and structured when comedians do what's called a roast,